we're going to have a look at proofs by contradiction. Okay, so the main one, it's a mandatory proof, it's one you have to learn off. So prove that root 2 is irrational. Okay, now a proof by contradiction is where we claim that something is true and then a logical contradiction happens. So we work our way down and we figure out that actually it's not true. Okay, so if we're trying to prove that root 2 is irrational, for our proof we're going to assume that root 2 is rational. So it's not irrational, we're assuming it's rational, and we're hoping some way down our proof there's going to be a contradiction that happens, and then that shows that it's not rational, which means it's irrational. Okay, so to assume that root 2 is rational, okay, that means that root 2 can be written as a over b. That's what a rational number is, where a and b are both integers. Okay, b can't be 0, you can't have 0 on the bottom of the fraction, and a and b have no common factors. Okay, so that's the definition of a rational number. So this part is really important. The a and b have no common factors. So we're going to basically work our way down and we'll see that actually they do have a common factor, which means there's a contradiction here. Okay, so root 2 can be written as a over b. So that means root 2 is a over b. Okay, let's square both sides. So root 2 to be squared is 2. Square this, a squared over b squared. Okay, let's cross multiply that up. We get a squared is 2b to be squared. Okay, now that means from this we can see that a squared is even because it's 2 times something else. 2 goes into it. Okay, a squared is 2 times b squared. So that means a squared is even, which then means that a is even. Okay, so if a is even, we can say that a is 2 times something else because it's an even number. So a is 2 times c. Okay, now let's go back here. A squared is equal to 2b squared. So a squared is equal to 2b squared. Now instead of a we're putting 2c. 2c to be squared is equal to 2b squared. So 4c squared equals 2b squared. So we get 2c squared equals b squared. Now we're looking here just like we were here. B squared is equal to 2 times something else. So that means b squared is even. And if b squared is even, then b is even. Now this is where our contradiction occurs. If a is even and b is even, that means they're both divisible by 2. They would have a common factor of 2. Okay, so after this you write a excuse me, and b have a common factor of 2, which contradicts our assumption. Okay, therefore root 2 is not what we assumed. So we assumed it was rational. Root 2 is not rational. Therefore root 2 is irrational. Okay, so you literally learned that off.